If you're listening to this podcast, there's a good chance that you're a hunter or you just enjoy the great outdoors. Now's the time to step up. There have been countless efforts to vilify hunters, denounce the legitimacy of the science-based wildlife management model. There's no science to this stance, and it is solely emotionally charged. We don't want to see what happened with the grizzly hunt replay itself again with the remaining large carnivores and big game species. It's a slippery slope, folks. We need to stand together. Now is the time for hunters to be united across all organizations and show our combined support. Please go to wildsheepsociety.com/act now and follow the steps. It doesn't take much time, and it will help save the future of hunting. This applies to residents and non-residents alike. Please, let's use our voice and be heard. On with the show, folks. This is episode 27 of the Wilderness Locals podcast. On this episode of Traditional Tuesday, Waste Dog and myself chat with Mark Sasser, or as he's known on Instagram, California Trad Bow Hunters. This podcast is brought to you by Kafaru International, the toughest hunting gear on the planet, bar none. Frontiersman gear, high quality, completely custom, handmade knives made in the heart of the Peace Country. And as always, we're brought to you by Just Shooting Arrows, BC's premier archery shop.
Hey, well, coming in hot.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
You just you went from no gain to all the gain.
Oh my gosh.
Did you just
be 17 again with that problem?
Yeah. I hear you.
All the game right now.
Yeah, exactly. So what's going on? Late night podcast.
Oh man, I just came back from murder practice, I like to call it. Teaching a bunch of white belts how to choke each other and break their arms and stuff. So
nice. I hear them white belts are more dangerous to roll with than a black belt because they just don't have control of everything yet.
Yeah, it's not their fault, I mean, they're like puppies, right? They're so excited and they want to get out there and do it.
Yeah. But
they have no idea what they're doing and they're going to do it 100%. So it's fun though. I mean, I got a really good group of students. So, I'm blessed in that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. It's one of those things where I think guys that have a lot of stuff on the go, like me and Wasey, it's you always think about getting in there and getting into some of the sessions and stuff like that. But yeah, I know if you get started, it's probably much like bow hunting, right?
It is a rabbit hole, man. And it's super addictive, and it is it's totally like bow hunting and maybe even, I never got in deep on the compound side.
Yeah.
We could talk about that later, but on the trad side, once you get bit, I mean, it's hard. I actually stepped away from hunting for a few years because I got really big into the competition scene and traveling around to do that stuff. And I mean, you got to do it all the time. It's like you guys were talking, I think last week's podcast or something, you guys were talking about being able to step away for a month, and come back and still shoot, right?
Yeah. That was
It's the same thing. I mean, you step away. I broke some ribs in January, and so I was off the mat for 6 weeks,
mm-hmm.
and I came back and I was like, "Oh, this is bad," and it takes you a little bit. It's oh, okay, you figure it back out, but you definitely. It's just like shooting a bow. I mean, you can be really, really fit and really, really technically sound for one thing, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, but it's good stuff, man.
Yeah, I think many disciplines are like that. It doesn't seem to matter kind of what martial art or hunting or cycling or whatever. It's you gotta keep at it and keep after it.
Yeah, for sure. And that's funny you say cycling. It's my whole life I've done 3 things, right?
Yeah.
When I was 10, so back in 79 when you guys weren't even born yet. So when I was 10, my dad took me to a judo class, right?
Yeah.
And then he took me to BMX the same year.
Yeah.
And then he taught me how to shoot the same year. Right.
Nice.
And so my whole life, I'm 52 now. My whole life, I've shot, started off at a YMCA camp shooting a fiberglass longbow, and then shooting, guns with my dad, and then racing bikes, and then doing martial arts. And so my whole life I've done those three things, and I've been really, really blessed. It's like I was never top flight at any of them,
Yeah.
I've been blessed to be able. I've been blessed and really lucky to have people that are really, really good around me to kind of pull my weight and drag me along. But like in amateur cycling, like for 25 years, I was a top rank, like a Cat 1 cyclist on road cycling, mountain bike, cyclocross,
Cool.
all of that for a long time. Made a little bit of money, and then I did judo for years, black belt in judo, been doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu for years, won some stuff in that. And then on the hunting side's always been like my solitude, where you kind of come back and get grounded, and shit gets real when you're out in the woods. So but yeah, those three things, I've done that for 30 plus years now, I guess.
That's awesome, man.
Nice.
I grew up doing the same thing, racing BMX, and instead of martial arts, it was hockey and lacrosse. So I can kind of relate, man. Just getting after it, and kind of everywhere you can, right? So, Mark, we normally start these things by saying, kind of giving the audience a little intro into who you are after we get rolling here. And who are you? Who are you? What do you do? And how did you get started hunting? It sounds like we got a little bit of the story already.
And where do you live?
Yeah, where do you live? You don't have that accent.
That's it. So what's funny is I travel a lot for my job. So I work for. Can I say who I work for?
Yeah, say whatever. Does
anybody care?
Say whatever you want.
So I'm a territory manager for True Value Hardware, and so I'm here. I live in the Central Valley, California, in Fresno, so right in the middle of the valley, or right in the middle of the state, for that matter. But I work for a company out of Chicago, and I've got, I manage 21 stores up and down California for the company. So it's always funny because depending where I am, even in California, guys will want to know where I'm from because I do have an accent.
Yeah.
And then if I go to Chicago, they're like, where's this guy from? You're from California, but you sound like a redneck. And I was like, well, that's how it is.
Yeah.
So that's who I am. 52, 3 kids that are pretty rad.
That's awesome.
Have my corporate job that I do for True Value. And then, I'm an instructor at Halo Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu here in town. Been an instructor there for several years now, going on 5 or 6 years instructing.
Cool.
And then as a bow hunter, I started, my folks sent me, my mom's dad was a hunter, and we can get into that later, but for the most part, they were poor after World War II. And I think he was probably a poacher, but, but he was a hunter. And so for my mom and dad being hippies out of the 60s, hunting equated poverty, right?
Yeah.
And so poor people hunted. So we didn't do that. They worked really hard to gain some upper middle class status, and hunting was frowned upon. But they sent me to YMCA camp for several years, where it's kind of funny. You learned to land nav, you learned how to fish, you learned how to do some light backpacking. And one of the things we did there was started shooting with a longbow, and I actually won some awards with this little fiberglass longbow.
Cool.
And then, just do some scouts and some other things, did a lot more land nav, which is kind of funny because it's just something we did. And now it's kind of the buzzword.
Yeah.
But when I was 18, I was working at at a car dealership part-time, and there was this guy there who hunted, right? And he'd bring his pictures in from Montana and stuff. And I was like, man, that's pretty badass. I want to do that. And so I bought like this little $50 compound bow, and I think it was 1988, 1987, 1988, somewhere in there. Bought this little used compound bow and couldn't shoot it for shit, because I wore glasses at the time. I didn't have contacts or nothing yet. I couldn't shoot it at all. And I changed jobs and I ended up meeting another guy who did the same thing. He was a hunter, but this guy shot recurves. And he was like, oh man, you're wasting your time with those glasses in that compound. You can't look at the sides. You can't do this. You can't do that. And he gave me a Ben Pearson recurve.
Nice.
That, in 89, I mean, it had to be old then, right? And he gave me this thing and he taught me about shooting off the shelf and shooting just junk, man, like this 1960s recurve with game getter 2117s and stuff. And, but that's how I kind of got started. And this guy, Jim, I mean, he was kind of my dad in the sport because, my dad didn't want anything to do with it because my mom was not going to be happy. And so, he kind of got me started, and then I ended up going down and buying a Hatfield takedown, I think is what it was. And, bought this thing like 60 pounds at 28 inches. Oof. And got it set up. And, I was a 150-pound bike racing kid. It was way overbowed, but, that was the bow I got. And he took me out and started teaching me. And, man, I don't think I really killed anything other than a rabbit or a squirrel for probably 5 years, man. It was horrible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a grind, right?
Oh, for sure. But it's also one of those things once you figure it out, then you can roll,
Yeah.
But it took it took 5 or 6 years for me to figure anything out. And it was funny. I had killed a really big pig over here on the coastal range. And I called my dad to help him. I had to have him come over to my house and help him get it out of the truck because it was too big. I couldn't get it out. And he came over and he laughed and laughed and laughed. Because he's like, oh, you screwed up. You finally killed something. Now the work begins. And that's when I realized that my dad knew how to hunt. He just didn't because my mom didn't like it, So that's how I got started. It was very, very humble beginnings learning how to hunt in California without the resources we have today. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, part of that struggle, like you didn't have the resources for learning like we do now. We're so lucky.
Yeah. I mean, Wasey, you're what, like 14, 15 years younger than me. I mean, it's totally like 100% different. I mean, I had to find somebody. I don't even remember how I got it, but I got the original Fred Aspel book on instinctive shooting, right? But that was a challenge just getting that. Yeah. And there were no videos, and there was definitely no, Aaron Schneider or there's none of that. No Joel Turner, none of these guys that actually knew what they were doing to kind of help you out.
Heck, even when I started into trad, there was not much. There was not much. Like there was not like there is now. Pretty easy now, I think.
I don't know about easy. I don't know if any of it's easy. But
lots of info.
It's funny. I kind of the social media has been huge with it. I didn't really even know what was going on in social media with trad, let's say, until last summer. I kind of did that Unabomber thing where, I had the same, I had the same Black Widow for 15 years with the same arrow setup and the same glove and, all the stuff. And I just had it, and that was it. I did my thing. And the way that happened was probably back in, God, I got to say probably like 07 or 08. I was on a forum board. That's what we did back then, right? And there was one of the forums, and I got in a little bit of trouble on one of the forums for being not so nice, and I got a lifetime ban. And but I was right, and but sometimes being right gets you in trouble, and I got in trouble, which is funny because I went on that particular website that's still open, and I tried to log in to get some pictures that of stuff that I had posted on there, 10 years ago, and I'm still banned on that thing. It's funny.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think forums have even gone by the wayside almost now. It's pretty much all online. YouTube's got a lot of stuff too, but
yeah.
Yeah, YouTube's cool. So it's funny how I even found out about the social media stuff is I've got two buddies, right? And we met in our young 20s in the early 90s. I met these dudes, right? One of them had just graduated high school and he was working at the archery shop. And that's my buddy Steve, actually, that I'm going to Kodiak with in November.
Nice.
So I met him. We were just kids, right? I met him. And then my other buddy was this long-haired Ted Nugent-looking kid, guitar ripping, Oneida shooting, knucklehead from the country. And his name Jerome, right? And I would never say it to his face, but he's probably one of the best engineers and one of the smartest guys that I know, right? And he's the guy that is one of those. He's my boyer, right? Yeah. My buddy.
Cool.
So we all met, back in the early 90s, and I shot trad, and Steve shot a high country, and Jerome shot this Oneida. And they took me on my first deer hunt, and so now, all these years later, Steve owns the Spot Archery here where I live, and great shop. They do a ton of prime. They do Hoyt, all the big compound stuff. They do really, really well. But he also does trad, and so Steve started shooting trad. And then Jerome is, he's a boyer now. But funny thing about Jerome is you guys know who Ethics Archery is, right?
Yep.
Jerome's last name is Gazowski. He invented the Ethics Archery spinning insert. His brother is the one who runs the company now and does all the machining. But we were in our 20s, and he drew this thing out on a napkin, and he's like, dude, I think we should build this thing. And, if the broadhead could just spin, if it hit a rib, it'd be awesome. I was like, yeah, whatever. Well, guess what? He did it.
Yeah. Cool.
So I've been really blessed. I've got this friend who owns a shop, and really smart guy, just knows bows in and out. I've got this other friend who's a great engineer and can build a beautiful, beautiful bow. They both have converted over and shoot trad now. So, I'm just a guy that, I'm a consultant. I talk for a living. So I just, I just walk around and make friends with people and talk to them about hunting in California.
Are them the guys that you hog hunt with? Same guys?
Yeah. So, yeah, for sure. Both those guys. So Steve, we hunt a little bit together, and then we're going up to Kodiak in November to hunt blacktail. And then Jerome, I just did a hunt. That video that I sent you actually the other day where I shot that hog down in the ravine, Jerome was filming that. So yeah, we still hunt together, and Jerome was there when I shot my first hog, and I shot it in the chine bones, and it's been 25 years, and he talked shit to me about shooting hogs high in the back. And So I talked to him about missing stuff with his compound, and there's no love lost.
Do they have an estimate on the amount of hogs in California? Do you know?
I don't think they know. There are so many hogs in California, and I've got a good friend who's a biologist, and he was telling me that they don't know. It's many, many thousands, like 70.
Yeah, I think part of the deal with hogs is they have a super short gestation period. I think it's like, I don't know, 110 or 115 days, right? And and the sows, I think the sows come into like a sexual maturity at like 6 months, and they're cranking off big, huge litters, like a dog, right? Like
100%,
4 to 7 or something like that.
They can be bred in the first year, and they can pop out at least two cycles a year, sometimes 3. And so my friend who's a biologist was telling me that the method or the quantity of take would have to reach 65-70% to keep the population from growing, right?
Yeah.
And there's no way.
Yeah,
there's no way you can knock out 70% of the population annually just to keep it treading water.
Yeah, that's why most places, I mean, like at least in Canada, there's like just open season on hogs, because the influx of them gets unreal when they get settled into a place, right? They can be super, super devastating.
They can, they can crush an economy, and they over on the Central Coast here, they grow a lot of romaine lettuce. And I don't know if up in BC, if you guys heard about like the E. coli scare with the people buying romaine lettuce, but that was because the wild hogs were coming down into the fields and grazing and everything. And they couldn't control it. They couldn't keep them out of the lettuce fields. And, hence they started spreading, fecal matter, and you end up with E. coli.
Yeah. Somebody up here in BC just passed away recently from E. coli from eating lettuce. So
no shit.
There you go. There you go, folks. Don't eat lettuce.
Right? It's green. It'll hurt you.
No doubt.
I love you guys. The hog goodies you sent me is wicked. I'd give my left nut to go down there and kill a truckload of them bastards.
Okay, I got to get off topic for a second, but Chatty just sent me a video, Ace, of a whole gang of wild hogs in a place that I already hunt.
Oh, really?
Oh, dude.
Yeah, and it's over the counter. So I think, don't quote me, but I think you're allowed to hunt them out here, Wasey, like same way you can hunt turkeys, because I don't think it's actually in the big game regulations.
It's probably a non-game animal.
Yeah, I'll have to check. Let me look that up while we keep moving here.
If it's anything like it is out here, being a non-native species, I mean, the coolest thing about California, and my number one thing that I like to hunt, would be hogs, because you can hunt them 365 days a year, no bag limit.
Yeah.
Now when I started, you didn't even have to buy a tag. Now you have to buy a tag. But
there's no tag here. I just don't see a note on this about residency. It says that you just need to have a valid BC hunting license. So maybe you're good to go. We'll find out. I'll call for you, Ace, and if you do, we'll go kill some.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, you got to knock on that.
What's your kind of arrow setups for them, Mark? For them hogs, them big hogs?
So, it's kind of like you want a big hole because they don't bleed well.
Really?
So yeah, I mean, I would shoot whatever your setup that you normally do, but probably a 3-blade broadhead. Right. So I'm shooting a VPA TKO 400 spine. For hogs, I shoot a VPA 3-blade 250 grain. So total arrow weight's like 570 grain. It smokes them, man. It blows right through. And people talk about the cartilage plate and the shield and whatnot.
Yep.
And a really sharp, heavy arrow will just crack them. You know, when in doubt, shoot a little far back, just middle of the middle, just like a bear. But
Wasey swears by shooting a rage out of a stick bow. That's his trick. right in the guts. That's his whole thing.
Yeah, I got some heat over that April Fool's thing that I posted up about the California crossbow hunters.
I didn't see it.
You did?
Oh, dude. Yeah, I changed the name. I changed it to California Crossbow Hunters, and I posted some stupid picture and was talking about sitting in my chair and hunting turkeys and stuff. And man, some guys figured it out, and I got some hate mail over that. I loved it.
It's funny.
I have a joke that I'll tell after we're not recording because I will get hate for it if I say it, but it has to do the hardest thing with telling your parents or something, and it's shooting a crossbow. But
I already know about that. Yeah. That was Schneider pulled that one on, Cody Greenwood pulled that joke on Scotty down at top of Texas with Schneider, and Aaron almost fell out of the truck from what I heard.
He's too funny. Yeah, I got to get Cody on here too. He's seems like a cool cat.
Oh man, he's got the best voice in podcasting for all that kind of stuff, and he's so humble about it. I mean, I almost said a bad word. When he messes stuff up, he just tells you like, yeah, I did it, you know?
Yeah.
Which, that kind of brutal honesty is refreshing.
Yeah, man. There's something cool about a dude that has big shoulders like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, because it's real. It's like, if a guy's going to tell you that he completely blew it, then when he tells you he did something right or something's good, I mean, you kind of have to trust it, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, one thing we want to get into, and like, you're the type of guy that we could talk to all night here, but one thing we want to get into with you is where you live. You live in California, and, when I think Western hunting, I think I generally exclude California from the mix. And, one of the only times I hear California come up is from you, for one. And then for two, you hear Remy Warren talk about California once in a while about chasing blacktail, but that's it. And your Instagram leads me to believe otherwise.
So, all right. Wait, were you going to jump in there with something?
I was just going to say, I think California is a sleeper state from what I can tell for hunting. And I don't know why. Just maybe touch on why you think I would think that.
Is it the chai lattes?
Well, yeah, no, for sure. So, and the Dutch Bros, so, California, and I'm going to get in so much trouble for saying this right now. California is an amazing state to hunt in. Now, that being said, we don't have the management within our department to give like opportunities to pull out record book mule deer every year. Right.
Yeah.
We just don't, the zone that I live in. So like the county that I live in here in California, which is Fresno County, you can look it up. It's got 1 million people in it.
Yeah.
That's more than the state of Montana. Right.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of people. My home zone, they sell 9,000 tags over the counter, and there's like $500 killed in this zone.
Yeah.
So it's overhunted. It's undermanaged. But I shared some photos with you guys. If a guy gets out of his truck and puts a backpack on, it's legit, and Schneider says all the time, he's like, oh, fuck California. You couldn't pay me enough to go there. And for me, I'm like, thank you. Right. Thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
Cause like we have a joke here. It's like, everybody says, oh, there's no deer in D7. That's my zone. Right. And it's like, thanks for saying that, because I don't need anybody else coming in here. There's already 9,000 knuckleheads out there, and so, you're not going to see 200-inch mule deer running around year after year.
Yeah.
you're going to see a Pope and Young deer in every zone. Now, if you can kill that deer, that's different because there's so much private property, and then you've got, weapons and all the different things going on there. But the animals are there. And then, Remy says that probably California for black bear is one of the best in the lower, in the 48.
How many, not to cut you off, how many resident hunters do you guys have? Do you know offhand?
Man, I would have to Google it. It's, my buddy Steve told me, I want to say it's like 65,000.
Yeah, that's wild, man. Like there's, I think it's, I think it's 37 million people in Canada. There's like 39 million in the state of California. Like,
there's 39.5 million in the state of California, but like,
so there's not many people in California.
It's crazy.
Like,
there's just so many people.
Yeah.
There's more people.
Yeah, there's not many people in California that are actually hunting.
Yeah.
All of Canada. Yeah.
California. Yeah. And all of Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, so that's a problem, right? There's just a lot of people here. But when you look at the opportunities that can be had here, right? We've got mule deer, black-tailed deer, and then there's a hybrid deer that some of the areas cross, because I can drive from my home zone. I can drive 10 minutes across town and be in another zone.
Yeah.
Where they've got blacktail. They cross over.
Is that a different tag? Is that a different tag in California?
Yeah. Unless you shoot archery, you can buy what's called an AO tag, archery only.
Yeah.
And you can hunt almost the entire balance of the state minus premium draw tags.
Oh,
so the AO tag is legit. Because there's like a couple of regular zones you can't hunt, some of the C zones, and then none of the premium draw zones. But the rest of them you can hunt. And so our earliest season is the second week of July. So you can start hunting with the archery only tag in July over on the coast.
Whoa. And
then you can end up in the Sierra at the end of rifle hunting with your bow in November. So guys don't talk about that. So that, and it's either deer, blacktail or mule deer.
That's wild.
So, yeah. So you've got both deer, you've got black bears, you've got antelope, you've got 2 or 3 different types of elk.
Yeah, you got two.
I think we've got Tule elks, which is California is the only place you can get a Tule elk, right?
Yeah.
And they're easy to find. I mean, it's not hard to find a Tule, but you got to remember, like a world record Tule's 280 inches.
That's cool, though.
They're not big.
That's sweet.
Oh yeah, they're super rad.
But
they're not big.
Do they get talking like regular elk?
Oh yeah, 100%. But the challenge with California Tule elk is, one, it's so hard to draw the tag.
Oh, it's a draw tag.
So then it's a draw tag, and I've been putting in for 20 years, never drawn it.
Oh, wow.
Now you can buy a landowner tag, but the trick to the landowner tag is because California is the only state that has them, and you have these guys that want to get their North American 29. You're talking 30 grand to go hunt a small Roosevelt elk, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. I'll go to Oregon and shoot I'll go to Oregon for a couple $100 and shoot an elk up there. That's not a Tule.
Yeah, that's wild. There's no crossover in any other state?
The Tules, no.
That's wild.
But we've got Rosies up there, and those go back and forth. But the Tules don't. They're just here in Cali.
That's cool, man.
They're still counting the Tule on the slam list. They must be, hey.
Yeah, they're on the 29. Tules are.
Yeah,
and they're cool. I mean, they're just, they don't have a lot of length to their racks, but they've got some really awesome mass to them. They're just kind of stumpier.
I know for a long time, California held the archery world record black bear. I think that was just broken by a bear from North Carolina last year, or year before. But it was forever.
Yeah, I don't know. I know so many guys that have shot black bears that are 20 and a half inches, which is to me, I mean, a 20-inch black bear is a legit black bear. You know, my best one's about 19 and 5/8, but a guy that owns an archery shop just north of me, he shot one that was pushing 21 almost, I think, just this last year. Beautiful bear.
Did that black bear ban? Did it have any teeth? Like they were trying to push all banning on all hunting, or was it kind of just smoke and mirrors a little bit?
No, I had a lot of teeth, big ones, and that whole thing's pushed by the HSUS, the Humane Society of the United States, and they right after the election when Trump lost, they went big in 4 states. They went Missouri. They tried to get Missouri, New Jersey, us, and someone else. I don't remember. There's one other state that they tried. They started pushing legislation to ban it. And so our legislator up here, who's part of the state, was Scott Wiener. And
what a wiener.
I talked to his office quite a bit. We got involved, and a really cool guy that you would want to talk to, is a younger guy, different perspective. Jack Harrison, really cool kid from Santa Cruz area. He actually told me about the whole thing. He hit me up and he's like, dude, you know this is going on. And I was like, no, tell me about it. So he kind of clued me in. And so I jumped on my phone and started doing a little research, and I got pissed off. And so I started calling people. And I drive a lot for my job. So I'm just driving down the highway, making phone calls to different politicians and kind of trying to work this thing out. And come to find out that they didn't know anything about it. That the HSUS offered them a bunch of money and a bunch of support, and they got some celebrities behind it. And they said, these bears are being abused. These bears are being abused by these hunters, and it's bad, and they're suffering. Bear suffrage. We got to stop hunting because these hunters are abusing the bears. And so it was funny. I called Wiener's office, and I was talking to a staffer, and talked to the staffer for like 10 minutes, and they're telling me all about it and their position and how they're doing such a great thing for the bears, and they're going on and on and on. And then when they were done, I started asking them some questions. And when they figured out that I was not on their side, the phone call ended pretty quickly. But there was no science behind it at all. It was just all emotion, And so when I got home that night, I drafted a bunch of letters and got together with some other guys. There was a lot of people that got together, and I have to say, if social media is the detriment to hunting, which we all know that, right?
Yeah.
We're our own worst enemy. Social media is also a really effective tool that we can use to protect hunting. And so by using social media and getting in with the HSUS and seeing what they're pushing, we were able to combat it with science, and so they're saying bears are suffering. Well, Yosemite National Park up here, I pulled the data from that. There's 750,000 acres. So I started pulling bear versus car interaction data and talking, you're just finding how much more prevalent car versus bear interactions were. Not even talking about campsite interactions, just cars hitting bears, and the rate that's accelerated. And then started asking questions. Well, aren't those bears suffering, right? And was able to kind of use their own tactic against them, and just pick it apart, because the HSUS, while they have a lot of money backing them and they have celebrities backing them, which give them the teeth, they don't have the smarts. We're going to use that word. We're going to make somebody mad. They don't have the smarts to veil they don't camouflage what they're doing at all. They just put it out there.
Yeah.
All right. This is what we're going to attack, and this is how we're going to attack it. And, anybody who's read anything about, the legal system or any kind of politics knows that, you don't have to, like the movie Thank You for Smoking. I don't have to prove that bear hunting is bad. I just have to prove that you're not correct.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So then it kind of almost went away as fast as it came, hey?
Yeah, it did. Ranella and those guys were one of the few major companies to come out against it. But what was funny is California, everybody thinks California is a blue state, and San Francisco and San Jose and Los Angeles are blue. But the balance of the state, it's a bunch of well-educated rednecks.
Yeah.
And we all came out pretty hard. And I think part of it was they used, the Trump loss as a springboard to launch it. But what they didn't realize is there was a lot of these people who were equally emotionally involved in our way of life that took that Trump loss and were pissed off about it and weren't going to take just one more thing lying down. So we fought it pretty hard, pretty quick. And I talked to Wiener's office about it, and I actually talked to him a little bit. And they said that while they still believe that bear hunting doesn't need to be part of California, it wasn't the right time for them to push it in the legislature, which what you can read from that is they couldn't even get it into a committee to be heard. And so they just pulled it. Now, the big win from that, and what's funny is if you go to the Humane Society of the United States, you go to their Instagram page, they pulled every photo and every post about it. They deleted it.
Yeah.
Which tells you that, they don't want their people to know that they lost.
Yeah. A lot of the antis are very quick to get rid of any evidence that they didn't make something happen. You see it all the time.
Yeah. It's sad because again, I would have more respect for them if they said, you know what, we feel this way. This is what we wanted to do. And we didn't have the data to back it up, but we're going to try again.
Yeah.
But the way they did it, they just kind of like, oh, hey, look over there. When nobody's paying attention, it went away.
So what does bear hunting kind of look like then right now? You guys do a lot of spot and stock or baits?
So you can't bait here in California. No baiting. They made hunting with hounds illegal several years ago. So for most guys, bear hunting in California is kind of an opportunistic thing. I mean, it coincides with our deer seasons. So most guys are out deer hunting, see a bear, and they shoot it, which, it's cool because, they get to see bear and they get to harvest bear and they're great eating here in California. They're fantastic eating animal. But, with hound hunting and with baiting specifically, you can verify what you're shooting before you shoot it. And unfortunately, in today's 6.5 Creedmoor society, guys are taking pot shots at these Bruins, at 500, 600 yards with their badass scopes that they dialed in, and they don't know if it's a sow or if it's a boar. So I wish we could bait. I wish we could use hounds again. But right now, it's pretty much either set up a tree stand on a good trail or spot and stalk them.
Yeah, and the country kind of doesn't really lend to that. Hey, where they kind of live is real dense forest.
So yes and no. The western side of the state is more rolling hills and oaks. And then the side that I live on, I mean, it goes from where my house is at probably 300 feet elevation. And, we've got Mount Whitney 70 miles away, which is 14,000 and change. And so in the Sierra, it's pretty steep. But if you know what you're looking for, it's not hard. It's not when you have enough years of experience under your belt, in the fall, you're just following the feed. And, if you got gooseberries and stuff, you're going to be able to go through and just watch them just shred those bushes. And the problem is there's so many guys road hunting in the general forest areas that these bears are wired. You driving down the road, you hit the brakes and they're bolted. So in the wilderness areas where I go, it's not as sketchy, but in a general zone where guys were road hunting or doing campsite hunting and rifle hunting, I mean, these bears are wired.
Yeah. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of that, even in where we are too. Lots of road hunting, but
so I stopped doing that kind of thing like 15 years ago. I didn't have, we didn't have OnX and all that stuff back then, so I used Harrison maps and just started picking apart wilderness areas. There's a lot of those here in California. That's a blessing of the liberal politics, is we've got wilderness areas. So I just started finding wilderness areas that had good habitat and started picking those apart. And those are what I hunt. And, you don't see anybody. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's definitely sweet. Yeah. So, go ahead, Ty.
I just wanted to ask, you mentioned your guys' deer season. There's a deer season that opens up in July. What's that like? Because up here where I am, I feel like I could get the drop on a lot of these deer in July.
So you can. So the deer season, it opens in July. It's over on the coastal range. And in the midday, it's going to be well over 100 degrees, right?
Yeah.
And so, but you're hunting velvet bucks, so they're not going to get into the thick stuff too readily because it's sensitive for them. So they're generally out in the open more, and then they're kind of ruled by their belly, right? You're going to go to feed, you're going to go to water, and then you're going to hunt the prime parts of the day. But when these bucks bed up, man, they are in their bed for hours. And it's kind of funny. I'll tell you a quick story. The first time I really got into one, I found this little forked horn buck that was bedded up and under an oak tree. These oak trees that we have here, they got these big, giant, round shadows. And I figured as long as the deer was in that shadow, that I could sneak up there. So I snuck up there and got into, I think it was like 8 yards, sitting under the same shadow of the same tree that this buck was in. And combat bow hunting, this guy with a compound comes up like 50, 60 yards away and is like ranging this thing and picking his bow up, like getting ready to shoot it. And I'm sitting right behind the deer, like putting my hands in there. And I'm like, dude, right? And he was going to take the shot the whole time until I finally stood up and I yelled at him and the buck takes off, right? And I walked down there and we had a pretty uncomfortable conversation for a while. And I was like, if that guy was in my gym, I'd be like, dude, sign the waiver. We're going to go.
Yeah.
But from that point on, it was like, I realized that these deer, it's so hot that they will stick. And so over there in that coastal area, I've killed, I think it's 7 now under 12 yards with the stick bow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And they hold up, they're not real big, I mean, the best one I got was that goofy looking buck that had the U-shaped main beam.
Yeah. He's cool.
And yeah, he's good. He was really good last year. I have him on trail cam when he was, it's a standard framed buck. And he was, for a blacktail, he was about 130 inches or so.
Yeah.
Good buck, but he busted that thing when it was fresh this year and it grew all crazy. And it was one of those things I wasn't going to pass that up.
Yeah. You figure he just heard it when he heard it when it was just a nub, eh?
Yeah, he had to because when you look at it, like, so I did a Euro on it,
Yeah, I saw it.
and
Yeah.
where the pedestal comes out, it's just like bent over it almost 180 degrees, and then you can see the rosette, and then it starts growing again. So he either snagged it on something or he injured it somehow. But
yeah.
I've got pictures of him in velvet like that, and the whole deal is really, really cool to watch him over the summer.
Yeah, I arrowed a young blacktail that was similar, but his skull was broken. He was real young. He was like just a little fork, but just below the base of his pedicle there, the skull was actually broken on him. So it was probably a good thing that I shot him, but still.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I shot one in the same area that had just this giant, I remember a giant right side, and the left side was just looked like a spike with a crab claw at the top. And that one, I think somebody tried to poach him with a 22 or something, because his skull was, when I did the Euro mount on it, his skull was fractured.
Oh yeah.
Like right at the base of the pedestal, and his skull was fractured and all honeycombed. And so that left side never grew back, but really cool buck.
It's crazy some of the stuff that those animals go through, like, I think it's easy to forget that the kind of most, in air quotes here, the most humane death for these guys is at the hands of a hunter, and not like getting eaten ass first by a wolf or a cat, or shot with a 22 by a poacher or something stupid, It's kind of sobering when you see that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I end up having this conversation a lot with people. They're like, how could you do that? And,
oh yeah.
You're so mean and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, man, I've had a pretty full life, right?
Yep.
I would not want to waste away in jail or waste away from cancer or something. If I could be standing out in the mountains with the sun on my back and the wind in my face and just get blasted and it's over,
yeah,
I'd be all right with that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's that Instagram that everybody and their dog follows, Nature's Metal, right? And it's like, yeah, nature's crazy. I mean, we see it being out there, right? I think society doesn't. There's that disconnect from what nature actually is. I'm getting off course here, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's wild. That's, it's just the craziest things you can imagine. You'll see them.
Oh yeah. So what's next here for you for the rest of the season here?
So man, we've got.
Sorry, not for the rest of the season. For this coming season. So
spring turkey's on right now, and I haven't got out at all. All my buddies have been out, but I haven't been out at all for spring turkey. I've got plans to go do that with some friends of mine over in the coast, and then doing the NFAA 3D Open this weekend. So I no chasing turkeys. I'm gonna be shooting foam, but gonna do some hog hunting. Before summer starts, before it gets too hot. And then I'll do California deer. I'll do the coastal range deer. And then I have a couple of points. So I'm going to put in for a tag. It's an archery only tag, and they only give out 30 tags, but it's a 50% success ratio.
Oh, that's sweet.
And yeah, in the high mountains, like 12,000 feet, you're running around up there. It's pretty rad.
Yep.
And then Steve and I are going to Kodiak, and we're doing the boat. And
it's badass.
So that's kind of putting all my eggs in the Kodiak basket at the moment.
Yeah, that'll be really fun, man. All the stories I hear from out of there are so cool. So I look forward to seeing that on your Instagram feed and all that, man. I'm gonna have to start looking at the non-resident alien hunting opportunities in California, I think.
Yeah, man, it's silly. Like, there's some good stuff you can do down here. I think the bear tags are like $300 for a non-resident.
Yeah.
And if you specifically go out looking for bears, you are going to find bears.
I honestly think I would probably Are those summer tags, draw tags?
It's a fall. So bear's over the counter, and it's a fall tag.
Yeah, no, I mean that July, June deer tag.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's over the counter.
Yeah, I'm all about that.
And yeah, it's a no brainer. And it's a good time. I mean, you suck down a bunch of water.
Yep.
But if you're on good property that's got game on it, it's awesome.
That's awesome.
Spot and stock is where it's at.
And then the other thing that I want to do is that Thule elk. I mean, those tiny elk that Cam Haines could pack out on his back and piss everybody off. That's what I need. I need a Tyler size elk waist.
Yeah.
Cam Haines, the guy that's too afraid to lose his paycheck to actually hunt with the trad bow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm scared. I'm scared, Mark. I'm not. Snyder's busting my balls about not committing and selling my compounds, but I can't do it, man. I am going to do some deer hunting with my stick this fall, and I am going to be getting on some bears here this spring with it. So I'm not.
So I'll be honest with you. I picked up a Hoyt in a Hoyt compound, I think in 2006.
Yeah.
And I drew a really good tag, and I was like, you know what? If I'm going to draw this tag, I want to give myself the best chance I can. So I bought this compound. I practiced with it. And I'm a good shot with a stick.
Yeah.
But I wasn't then. I wasn't as good a shot then as I am now. But I bought this compound. I was going to do the whole thing. So I got this tag. I went over there a couple days before the season, backpacked in several miles. Opening day, have this nice muley 40 yards down here shot, just a slam dunk, right?
Yeah.
And just float it over its back,
Ooh.
At 40 yards. And come to find out, one of the screws for my sight had come loose and my sight moved.
Yeah.
And so it actually had fallen out. So there was no way for me to get a new screw for it over where I was hunting and the whole thing. So I backpacked out, drove 7 hours home, got my recurve, went back, killed a buck in that zone.
Nice.
And sold the compound. But had I shot that 170 buck with that compound that day, I'd be shooting compounds right now. I guarantee it.
Well, it's good.
So
it's good that you didn't.
Just how it happened.
Yeah. I mean, like quite honestly, like the amount that I shoot normally is bordering on absurd. And I haven't really been taking my compound out of the podcast studio. It's kind of been living in here. And like my recurve right now is on my dining room table because I was shooting it all day with my kids and stuff. It's just like, I don't know. I'm feeling really good. And I think it could go pretty smooth. We'll see. I don't know.
I think guys that I'm going to get in trouble for this too. I think guys that are successful with compounds and convert actually make better trad hunters than guys that start off with trad, because they have the experience, right? They've got out there, they've learned to hunt, they've had some experience with longer shots, with higher tech equipment, and then they choose to step up their game and try shooting with the trad bow. When I started shooting with the trad bow, it was horrible. It took me years and years.
Yeah.
So a guy like yourself that already knows what to do, is good at it, you can convert over easy. It's just technique, and the only difference is technique at this point. Well,
we'll be putting that theory to the test because our buddy Chad there is going straight stick bow from a rifle. So
I shoot a rifle, and that's the thing. It's like I've got buddies that ask me to come up and do management hunts. And if it's a management deal, I use the rifle. I mean, I'm doing them a favor. They're not doing me a favor.
Yeah.
But with the bow, man, the stick is so much fun. I'm finally to the point after 30 years that I think the stick is actually a advantage when it comes to hunting and not a limitation, because of the angles you can shoot it at, and the type of shooting that we do, and being able to cant the bow at 90 degrees if I need to and make a shot.
Yeah.
You can't do that with a modern compound with sights and levels and all that stuff.
No, definitely not. Well, Mark, you got anything? You got anything for Mark Wace?
I just wanted to. I just wanted to touch on your Kodiak trip quick. Are you guys staying on a? You guys staying on a boat? Or are you gonna tent it and like kind of got your gear figured out, or what you're doing?
So we're doing the boat. We're going with Rourke, and so there's a bunch of guys. We're actually going with some compound guys from like Mississippi, Louisiana. And then Steve and I are going to be doing trad. Steve's been a number of times. I think this is his third or fourth trip. So he's kind of got it figured out. And again, I'm lucky that I've got these guys that know what they're doing and just take me along, right? But he's got it kind of figured out, and it was just lucky. There was an open spot for two guys, and he asked me at the right time, "Hey, you want to go?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we're going to go up there, and they allow you 3 blacktail. That's a lot of hunting for 6-7 days. So we're going to go up there and see what we can get see if we can get our hands on some horns and see what happens.
Nice.
That's perfect.
The boat hunt kind of looks appealing to me because it has they have bunks and the places to dry your gear and stuff.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I've seen the pictures of the bunks and stuff. The bunks are pretty nice. You don't have to have an electric fence, and then they take all their gear down to the engine room and put it in there overnight, and it's dry in the morning. I'm like, all right, I'm getting old. I don't know if I'm that old yet, but that sounds still pretty nice.
Yeah, no, it's wicked. It'll be a good time. Yeah. No, that's all I wanted to touch on. Just that'll be a fun hunt for you guys.
Cool, man. And then when the border opens up, you guys got to get down here, and I will host you guys. We'll go chase some hogs.
That sounds fun, man.
Yeah.
That sounds super fun.
Sounds like a plan. I'm not. I'd love to hunt hogs, man. Just to go out every day would be fun.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's.
I definitely want to try.
It's ridiculous. It's the most fun you can have hunting because I can't even do it justice. How much fun they are to hunt. They're the best.
They seem pretty switched on too, eh?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, everybody talks. They've got great noses, but they're kind of like a T-Rex. Everybody says they don't have good vision, but if you're moving, they're going to catch you. But the problem is you're those big packs of hogs. I've seen packs of hogs that have 100 hogs in them.
Oh, wow.
Right. So you got 200 eyes that you have to work around. It's like, you're going to get lucky or you're going to just catch them right. But luckily the terrain we have on here, there's so many ravines that when they get down in the ravines, you can get right on top of them. They don't know you're there. And that's my favorite shot, like that 15 to 30 yard shot into a ravine. It's like shooting out of a tree stand.
Yeah, that one that you sent us was badass.
Oh, did he send you? Did you see that one he sent?
Yeah, it's wicked.
That was pretty funny.
I was telling Mark, I'm like, you should do a Hogs Gone Wild video because I'd probably buy it, just like with stick bows.
Hey, it's funny. I talked to my buddies over at Lost Valley Outfitters. They are a outfitter over here. They do a ton of hog hunting, and 2 of the guides and the owner all shoot trad. And so I've talked to them about that, and that's in the works. So we're planning to put something out maybe for like the full draw tour or something about Hogs Gone Wild or something.
Yeah, that'd be wicked.
Sign Wacy, yep, he's in.
Yeah. Love it.
Right?
Love it.
Man, Mark, well, dude, thanks for coming on and getting us up to speed on all things California. We'll definitely have to check back in with you mid-season or maybe after you're back from Kodiak so we can hear about it and live vicariously through you, since we're going to be trapped in Canada, it's not so bad, but
you guys are going on a goat hunt. It's not that bad.
No, we're it's not that bad, but we definitely can't leave the country unless we want to get locked in a hotel or something. But that's for a different podcast. That's not for this one. So
yeah, for sure. We can get Drew on here and we'll all go down that rabbit hole. That'd be fun.
Oh yeah.
I love Drew, man. He's so passionate. It's good talking.
Oh yeah, he's I love that guy. So
yeah, he's awesome, man. Cool.
Alrighty, fellas. Anything else?
No, that's cool, Mark. Thanks so much, man. Mark's Instagram is, hold on, let me not mess this up here. It's California_Tradbow_hunters. Go follow Mark. Mark posts a lot of cool stuff, and I like it.
Did you post that hog video, Mark, where he was in that ravine, that last one?
I think I posted it when it happened. Couple months ago, but I can always throw it up there again. But that was a funny one, man. That last hog just decided to flop down and roll in the mud, and I just 12 ringed it. It was a good shot.
Yeah, it looked money. It looked money.
I want to do that. Okay, that's a good spot to end.
Sounds good.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe and leave us a review. If you want to support the podcast, please check out the gear on our website at www.wildernesslocals.net.